Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning here. I'm super excited to host this event with Cleo and Kevin Shaw, who is going to talk to us and demonstrate the Clio Work, which is very exciting. I'm very excited to hear more about it and see how we can implement it for our clients. So I'm Emil Abadian, the founder of Counsel CPAs. We're a CPA firm based out of Los Angeles area, working with law firms exclusively across the country. We love Clio. We work with Clio as much as we can. We want to implement that for our clients because that not only helps our clients and streamline their operation, actually help us with their accounting work also. So we appreciate Clio very much. That said, everybody, let's get started. So today we're going to talk to Kevin Shaw here, who has been with Clio for about 2 years, a little bit over 2 years, I think, and is working mainly with firms in California, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon. Himself, he is based out in Vancouver in Canada. So we appreciate you working with us in the States here, United States.
No, thank you. Really appreciate the introduction, Emil. And it's kind of required when I have an aunt and uncle who are based out of Walnut Creek in San Francisco, and I get weekly weather updates from California anyway, wildfire season, et cetera. It's kind of required, but really appreciate everyone joining us today. I hope things are well down south. I know there is a massive football game coming up in the Los Angeles area. Michael, I don't know if you're a Rams fan, but we'll see what happens this weekend. I think everyone's a shoe-in for that game on their television. But wishing, there we go. Love it. Fantastic. Wishing everyone the best down there right now, and really excited to show you a ultimately very powerful tool that this is probably one of the most excited components I've been for in the entirety of my Clio career. So basically, what we've done is we brought in an organization called Vincent. They've been around since the early 2000s, and we acquired their system of processes, a lot of their personnel solutions engineers, and we brought it and made it Clio oriented. And what it encompasses is everything from, again, document generation to legal research, as well as a ton of different administrative workflows that you and your team probably do on a daily basis. It aligns very well with transactional and litigation law firms. We've seen a lot of success throughout California and other West Coast states right now for its price point, again, for its power and encompassing such a good echelon of day-to-day administrative workflows that I'm really excited to show you all about it today. So I'm a visual learner. Why don't I share my screen? We can jump into it together, but I did want to pause right off the bat. If anyone has any questions right off the bat, more than happy to hear them now, and then we can go into it. As it stands right here, this is the basic overview of Clio Work, as you can see right here. It's encompassed with all the other existing Clio products that you might have under your repertoire as it stands right now, so it's very, very easy to access along with the other tools that you might use. But as you can see right here, everything is consolidated in one location from the legal research components all the way to the other document workflows that I imagine. So I'm basically going to be the teacher today that gives you a lot of the answers. One of our biggest components and where we've really been thriving throughout the West Coast states compared to a Westlaw or a LexisNexis, for example, which again are fantastic tools. I know their reputation, is the fact that with any legal research or any of the workflows that you can do here, you can actually tie it into existing Clio cases within the system. So I know with other tools out there, you really need to set the stage, ask follow-up questions to get a more tailored answer and align it with the individual cases that you're doing. With here, we kind of take the cake in that capacity. When doing any type of legal research, we will automatically take into consideration any documents, phone and email communications, notes that have been uploaded with this specific case, and tailor it into a more refined legal research answer. So as you can imagine, this has saved a ton of time for varying firms from estate planning to personal injury to everything in between there that, have to do heavy documents and kind of do administrative tasks in that direction. If 8 hours of time isn't enough in my day, I can only imagine how it is for your firms. That's where we've really saved a lot of time across the board in terms of doing those legal research workflows independently. Any questions there right off the bat?
We have a question here, Kevin, if you don't mind.
Yep,
So
shoot.
the question is, what's the difference between this and ChatGPT? GPT?
Of course. So most importantly, with VLEX, we actually acquired their entire database of legal precedents and authorities of over 1 billion documents. So most importantly, this is a closed loop, secure and compliant system that's again, been approved by the state bar. ChatGPT and other tools like that, simply speaking, are not. You don't know if the citations you get actually exist. Sometimes I've seen cases, especially with clientele in San Mateo, in Los Angeles, and other portions where they actually went to court. The judge called them out because four of their legal precedents and authorities that they actually presented were false, and they ended up getting $5,000 fines with each. The last thing you want is not having that readily available due diligence and knowing what you're actually getting is right. In here, we have a 99% basically threshold rate of knowing that all the documents and legal authorities that you pull in terms of information are accurate and exist within the system. As you can see here within the VLEX library, which is attached, of course, to Clio Work, and you get under that bundled subscription, you have the ability to advanced search any types of documents or information that you want, as well as pull everything from primary sources like case law and statutes, all the way down to books and journals, jury verdicts and settlements on both state and federal legislature, as you can see right here. Does that answer kind of that question? I don't know if it was Michael or Grace who might have asked that, as well as the others.
I I think we got a thumbs up here, so that
Perfect.
looks
Love to
like
hear that.
yeah.
So jumping right back here, as you can see, I've loaded a number, excuse me, of different legal research questions and other workflows readily available here. I'm actually going to pull one up specifically that I did in California the other day. And then most importantly, if anyone wants to test a legal research question right now, more than happy to make this a conversational event and we can put it within the system. That's Washington State. Let me just go down here a little bit. So as you can see right here, this was a question I did with another firm. What are the elements or evidence to prove client employer liability? And what happens here, and it's extremely quick. This information is all pulled in under 2.5 minutes. It's been very efficient for a lot of the California and West Coast firms that we've worked with. We actually sifted through cases, as you can see here, statutes and regulations, admin decisions, all those legal authorities that I just showed you a little bit earlier in the VLEX library, and populated them here accordingly. So you have a ton of relevant legal authorities with citations, so you know exactly where that information came from, as you can see right here. And these little percentages, as we shift throughout these legal authorities, actually show you how much these precedents align with the original question and the Clio case it's associated with. So there's definitely better kind of precedents and others that you can dive into, saving a ton of time in terms of finding that information frequently on the fly. It's also very quick in terms of updates. Any potential legal authorities that have been overruled, that were reversed, for example, will be shown here, and you can deep dive into why that has occurred and maybe avoid that, as you can imagine, as a legal precedent with a certain case. On the left-hand side here, for example, we deep dive into an extremely lengthy and articulated answer in terms of that original question. So we get a short response, as you can see here, a summary, all of the background and legislative framework with citations, so you know exactly where that information came from. Most importantly, we talked about that chat GBT question a little bit earlier. In here, you know exactly what information is being pulled and that it exists, most importantly, just by clicking and opening up these citations into the VLEX library. As we scroll throughout here too, as you can see, we deep dive into case law, okay, special and dual employment, etc. But the coolest one I love to show clientele, and I think this is fantastic for everyone's firms out there, is the fact that we show exceptions and caveats to these questions down here. So any type of exceptions, loopholes, things that are frequently done throughout the state will be loaded here accordingly. You can ask any type of follow-up questions that you want, as you can see at the tail end of this initial question, as well as generate memos, documents, things along those lines that you might need with your respective cases. So I know that's a lot of information to throw at folks right there within the legal research component. I'll pause there for now. Emil, how are we looking with the Q&A and any follow-up questions from the team?
I have a question for you, Kevin. So
Sure.
this is very interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
this is pretty cool. Uh,
Mhm.
so you mentioned, obviously you mentioned where the data is pulling from, I don't know, billions of different sources,
Yeah.
but where is it primarily coming from? Is it just from the World Wide Web, or where is all of this coming from?
Of course, it's basically secured and unverified information, just like Westlaw and LexisNexis do it respectively within their document libraries. Again, this is an organization that's been around since 2001 or 2002, if I'm not mistaken. They're an international firm, so they pull from a wide variety of independent legal kind of source, different platforms and things along those lines. We also have access to the Rudder files in California, other sources too, because there have been so many ongoing partnerships with other legal research and document workflow kind of platforms out there across the board. So there's a lot of cross collaboration that's been happening given kind of the reputation of the Westlaw, Clio Work, as well as LexisNexis on the market, Emil.
It's pretty cool, Kevin. I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. I have one more question related
Yeah.
to this. So in the beginning, you mentioned that, it's really connected to, you
Mhm.
can connect it to a case matter or a
Yes.
client specifically, but
Yeah.
is it locked into Clio there? So it's not really going out anywhere. It's safe for us to know that it's,
It's completely closed loop and compliant with the state bar. And that's where we're really evidently honored in a way, almost in a sense, the fact that, hey, we meet that threshold. I know how strict, especially California legislative requirements are with AI and any type of technology. I heard about the fraud case that went on with the California State Bar. I know there's a lot of scrutiny for accounting and other AI tools being used at firms. The fact that it meets that threshold, and again, this is a closed loop system. If I searched up, what date is Thanksgiving in here, for example, unless it's within a case or another source, it would not give me an answer, for example. So it needs to be pulled primarily from all that independent information. It will not be pulled from the web. But Emil, I'm very happy that you brought up being intertwined in Clio. You actually kind of jumped ahead on that, which I really appreciate. This is designed for cross collaboration. Any of this information that, again, we've generated, we can actually save directly back to any Clio managed cases within notes that we have within the system. We could download this to Word, copy all this information, and give it to other members of the firm that might not necessarily have Clio Work. So there's a ton of flexibility there too. I know a lot of folks that I work with as well, particularly with documents, and that's where we're jumping next, for example, like to analyze contracts and complaints, do summaries, the whole nine yards. As you can see right here, the workflows are absolutely endless. I want to emphasize to everyone, this is just not predominantly a legal research platform. While that is an extremely strong component and it's been working out well, this is designed for everyone's administrative day-to-day responsibilities. We've seen a lot of attorneys, paralegals, other staff who are responsible for document generation, things along those lines, use this really effectively for their workflows, of course, most importantly, too. So if I were to do, let's say, analyze a contract, for example, I could upload any documents that I have within the Clio system already consolidated there. Or again, I can upload them from any external server like a SharePoint, a OneDrive, and throw them in to this analysis kind of facet or of the other workflows that I showed. We have a limit of 50 documents at once right now with varying file sizes, so it's quite extensive. I know there's a lot of firms. There was one the other day who had a 22,000 pager that we split into a few sections and we're able to upload in here. That's the power of what you have in terms of file size too. And of course, we've expanded this recently. We do Excel documents now, PowerPoint. You can see all the supported files in here. We even do written medical records or doctor's notes. We can analyze those here independently, even if it's complete hieroglyphics. That's the capability of what we have in a system right here too, which is absolutely fantastic. The
fantastic?
one document I did want to show you today, though, and I think that the entire team will find this unbelievable, and this is my big wow moment that I love to show folks to kind of do it a little preemptively. This is actually a 176-page sample disclaimer trust that was graciously provided by a firm, ironically, out of Walnut Creek. Gotta love the folks from San Fran and LA. So there we go. But what happened here is I actually uploaded it in the summarized documents portion, as you can see right here. And it provided a full summary with accurate citations once again, so you know exactly where that information came from. Tax and reporting provisions, fantastic. General conclusions, as you can see right here. But it actually goes one step further. Clio Work identifies exactly what type of document this is and the jurisdiction that is within the document without even me actually having to tell it. And as you can see right here, it provided a ton of supplementary and next step workflows in what we can do with documents or anything that you upload within the Clio Work system. So as you can see right here off the bat, I can extract key parties, do a trustee succession checklist, all the way down to, however, look at this, a creditor protection for trust assets under California law. California trust amendment requirements identify tax related provisions pertaining to California in this specific document. I selected six at once and it generated all of these answers again with citations in under 3 minutes. That's the power and the capability of what you have with a tool like this. We can save this back to Clio and other sources once again, generate a memo, a follow-up document. The workflows truly are endless in a tool like this, and that's why it's been aligning with so many folks. Once again, a lot of information. I'll pause there. Emil, team, any other questions that have popped into the chat at all? Are you liking what you're seeing most importantly?
Good feedback coming up here. So
I
Thank
love
you
it.
for this, Kevin.
Of course, endless as I said, and I think someone is it possible to show this to law students? Grace, in what way, if I can ask, is this in a classroom setting or something along those lines?
Hey,
Yeah.
Jeremy Hernandez is speaking to my class next week and then the following week.
Mhm.
I teach multiple law and tech classes at two different law schools, and I always include Clio. And so I was just hoping they could see this too, but maybe Jeremy could show that. We have access to grow and manage.
Right. That is a really good question. I think we could definitely do, Angelica, what do you think is best? A recording? Do we do something live to present to a class like that? Like what do you think is best there in terms of a course of action?
He's speaking to my class via Zoom.
Interesting.
Um, but if it was a recording, I could show it to them
Mhm.
separately.
Mhm.
Um, I know from experience with like LexisNexis and others, there's some things that not everybody has access to show.
Mhm. Mhm.
So sometimes we've had to look at screenshots. I just want them to
Okay.
know about these things.
In terms of a demo, we can absolutely provide a demo. We can even like share a demo that's been pre-recorded
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
to
Because you all
yeah.
maybe know this. They get good legal educations, but that's it. When it comes to tech, they're not really natives. I know everybody says that, but they
Yeah.
don't know this
No,
stuff. So thank y'all for doing this.
no, I love that because Grace, I'll be honest with you. I've been working with a lot of firms recently, as I said, throughout the West Coast. I sound like a broken record at this point, but a lot of them have been hiring recent graduates from a lot of law schools, and they're coming in, I don't want to say with revolutionary ideas, but with revolutionary ideas in a way to improve efficiency, improve AI standpoints at firms, and they're really getting the ball rolling with managing partners and other members of their own right. So I think the younger generation seeing this, the effectiveness, knowing the compliance and security of this, most importantly as well, which I would say has been probably the number one issue throughout California is like, hey, is this secure with the state bar? How much can we trust this? We're putting a lot of minds at ease, as you can probably imagine, and the younger generation is starting to get that conversation started, and it's leading to a lot of collaborative, again, kind of rollouts and implementations of tools like this, where partners are like, wow, why didn't I have this 20 years ago, as you can probably imagine, and I can trust it most importantly. So I think that would be very helpful to do in a classroom scenario. Last thing I did want to show you briefly here while I have you is, again, the fact that we do have the ability to generate any type of memos, documents, triple net lease agreements, which I'll be showing you in a second, directly from scratch within the Clio Work system too. So let me pull it up right here, and y'all will have a chuckle at this in a second because as I scroll to the top here, I can't remember the last time rent was $1,000 in San Mateo. This must be from 25 years ago. So who knows right here. But what this firm actually asked me to do is draft a triple net commercial lease for multi-tenant 123 in San Mateo for a term of 60 months and a base rent of $1,000. They wanted something bare bones that they could populate with case information and do tweaks to it later. As you can see right here, it pulled directly from the California rules and procedures for San Mateo, as well as a few case precedents, as you can see right here. And it generated a bare bones lease within a couple minutes. And it has all the pertaining exhibits and layout that California requires in terms of doing a lease agreement like this. And basically, what they did after this is they uploaded this into Clio Draft. They put in respective custom fields that they wanted to align it with various cases, and they generated this for a few simultaneous cases at once. So again, that's the capability of what you have here within the system as well. So, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, it encompasses not only legal research, but a ton of other priorities that I can imagine you need to do at your respective firms, contract and complaint analysis, building arguments, and of course, drafting documents and things along those lines from scratch. Again, this has been a very powerful tool where you have a ton of license flexibility. This is something that ultimately, I'll be honest with you, does not need to be rolled out for the entirety of the firm. It's been very appealing to folks because we want something like this to align with the folks that will be using it on a frequent basis, for their legal research standards and other work that they do directly at the firm. So I think I'll pause there right now. Those are the main components I definitely wanted to show you today. I would love to hear any questions or feedback, or if there's anything else that you want to jump into right now. I think we have a little bit of time, but wanted to thank everyone for their insight and for coming so far. This has been really exciting to chat with you folks.
We appreciate it, Kevin. Really
Mhm.
good. This is really cool stuff happening here. So it's exciting for sure.
Mhm.
Even for us non-lawyers who work with
Yeah.
lawyers, it's nice to see this. I have
Mhm.
a question for you. So How is
Please.
this working with, let's say if you have Clio Manage, how is this kind of getting implemented? Is this a side kind of a platform you add on, or how's it working?
Good question. So basically, it's something that is basically flipped on and is encompassed in your existing Clio Manage environment. It is a supplementary fee that is required to add on a product like this. However, again, the biggest component is dependent on your Clio plan that you have at the firm. You have monthly and annual flexibility, excuse me, losing all grasp of the English language right there. But most importantly as well, I know with other software and tools out there, we've seen a lot of clients, get locked into contracts until 2030 and 2029. With this, again, you have that flexibility on a monthly or yearly basis. You're not locked in long term. So there's a ton of fun that you can have with this and maintain kind of a good implementation plan moving forward. And it's a very relatively inexpensive add-on to other tools that we've seen on the market as well, Emil.
If anyone has any questions, how do they do? Do they reach out to us? Do they reach out to you? Who are you reaching out to for more information?
Of course. Well, basically, what we do is we have a lot of great folks here at Clio that work independently or are assigned to firms in the California area and other spots. Some folks here might get to work with myself directly, which I think would be fantastic. Others would be working with my colleague Anna Solano and other individuals, but we are more than happy to do tailored one-on-one demonstrations that align directly with your firm legal disciplines. We can walk through legal research questions that it might pop into your mind together, show you the speed and efficiency of the tool and everything that's consolidated there. But more than happy to do 30-minute sessions if you are interested in discussing this further as early as today or next week. So again, feel free to reach out to us directly and we can get the ball rolling from there.
Fantastic. And if you want us, if we are your accounting firm and want to work with us, just feel free to reach out to our office directly. Talk to Ro, who is working with our firm Counsel CPAs, and we'll coordinate meetings with Kevin and Angelica. So feel free to do that. And with that, Kevin, I will thank you so much for your time. Angelica, you as well. Thank you for your time here, and this is great information that we can share with lawyers across the country. Amazing. Thank you so much.